Good morning. I am Chris Stirewalt, and here are your buzz cuts from Fox News First. Off the top, that bear is walking away. That bear is alone. Brett Baer wrote in his Bear Tracks today for your Fox News First about one being the loneliest number for that bear and for Barack Obama, the president of the United States. New Washington Post poll out today says that 63% of Americans don't have confidence in the president to make the right decisions. But he says he's going to be making more decisions. He's got a State of the Union coming up tomorrow, and he's going to emphasize direct executive action and not dealing with nincompoops in Congress who won't let him do what he wants to do. Is that a wise strategy given lower confidence? Can the president be that lonely bear out there? We'll talk about it. Don't blame redistricting. Now, you people may not like it, but this is, in fact, the most important political story, I would say, of the last 6 months. A study done by two left-leaning political scientists tested the assumption that the reason that Congress is the way Congress is and Washington is the way it is in large part because of gerrymandering and constant redistricting to ever more partisan grids in congressional maps. Not so. They randomized and came up with pretty much the same Congress. This is significant for a lot of reasons. We will talk about that more. Number 3, he went there. Paul knocks Bubba for intern sex. Rand Paul pressed, harried a bit by David Gregory on NBC News' Meet the Press about wars on women, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Finally pushed on the question of comments his wife made last year about Bill Clinton and that thing he did with that gal. And Senator from Kentucky hauled off and whacked it. He went right for Bill Clinton and called him predator, said he predatory and offensive to women. And zing, zing, zing. We'll talk about that. And for those of you with mid to late 90s nostalgia, you'll enjoy that. Number 4, social conservative leader readying Iowa Senate run. So the Republicans were pretty optimistic about their chances to pick up the seat in Iowa being vacated by Senator Tom Harkin. Bob Vander Plaats, who is a big name when it comes to social conservatism in that state, probably one of the most important backers of Rick Santorum, leading to his success or near success in Iowa in 2012, says that he is leaning towards and getting ready to perhaps make a Senate bid there. That could complicate things, make things more expensive, and help the case, probably, of Congressman Braley, the Democrat, who hopes to hold that for the blue team. And last, and definitely not least, the law is toothless. A Winnipeg woman surrendered a DNA sample to Canadian authorities after her conviction for a recent unspecified crime. Her genetic markers drew an immediate connection with a cold case. And this is from the Canadian Broadcasting Company. The robbery happened in October 2007 when a woman confronted staff at a convenience store in the 800 block of Arlington Street. She threatened them with a knife and fled with an undisclosed amount of cash. But while running off, she dropped her partial plate of false teeth and left them behind. The teeth were taken by police, who sent them off for a DNA sample. I know. What do you want from me? It's Monday. What do you want from me? Yeah, it's a Canadian denture crime joke, but that's what you get, Internet. But you would have gotten it already if you were a subscriber to Fox News First. Go to foxnewspolitics.com, sign up, they're in. But we're going to do it all right now because it's Power Play.
What we're trying to do here is restore opportunity for all Americans, grow the economy, and create jobs.
But you talk about restoring median household income is down, labor force participation is down, food stamps are up, poverty rate is up. If things are so great, how come they're so lousy?
And that is what it feels like to get smacked down by Chris Wallace when you bring the wrong talking points to Fox News Sunday. And this is Power Play. Hi, Internet. Happy Monday. Welcome back. And let us quickly scamper over to the Ed Henry, senior White House correspondent for this estimable news organization. Brother Henry, good Monday morning to you.
Good to see you. How was your weekend?
Dynamite. Pretty. I sliced my hand up on a can of tomatillos, but other than that, I'm doing okay. It's all in the, it's a dramatic existence that I lead. All right, so I have a question for you. Latest polling indicates that when it comes to trust and confidence in President Obama, Americans have some concerns. But the president says that he's going to increasingly try to go it alone, and that's all the talking points that we heard from Pfeiffer and others on the Sunday shows this weekend was that the president's going to focus on executive action. Is this a good time to try that?
It's all he has left, frankly. It might not be the best strategy, but the president has tried at various times to work with Republicans on the Hill. They've tried to put their ideas up. He hasn't listened to them. They haven't listened to him. You've heard the finger pointing now for several years. And I think the fact that John Podesta was hired foreshadowed all of this, because as counselor around here, he was the Clinton chief of staff. Go back and read your history books, or go back and remember from when you were covering it, depending on where you are out there on the internet. If you were somebody who was around and following politics closely, this is what Bill Clinton did in his final year or two, through impeachment, through his own bruising battles where his poll numbers were down, etc. You referred to it a little bit earlier with Rand Paul, perhaps.
Quite so.
But bottom line is, Bill Clinton couldn't get much done either. And what did he do? The school uniforms and the like, the Rahm Emanuel strategy, the John Podesta strategy, a lot of executive action. And that's what this president is going to do. So when John Podesta came in, he's been somebody who's been saying for a couple years on the outside, this president should use the cabinet more. He should be taking more executive actions. And so that's coming. Meanwhile, on the other side, the Republicans are going to be very frustrated with this strategy, because here you have a president going up saying, I've got a phone and I have a pen. And we've heard this soundbite before. And look, I've got a phone, I'll call you, I'll talk to you, and you know that the Republican leaders have said on a lot of these issues the president doesn't really reach out to them, doesn't really negotiate with them on the debt ceiling and other issues. So they're going to be angry that he's foreshadowing a lot more unilateral action going around Congress. Obviously, the view inside the White House, and you heard it, as you say, from Dan Pfeiffer, the senior advisor around here, to Chris Wallace and other Sunday show anchors, that basically, look, he's tried to work with Republicans. It's not going anywhere. And so with the clock ticking, this is his last gasp, I suppose, to get some of his agenda enacted, because it's not going to go through the Republican House.
Ed, are you in a position to tell us any advance on what sort of a pocket silk tie combination you're looking at for State of the Union?
You know, I don't usually like to foreshadow that too far in advance.
I know.
If we embargo it, could we embargo it till tomorrow?
Well, the internet won't tell anybody. Yeah, the internet
won't
won't tell
anyone.
anybody.
You know, I just got a new suit, and it's steel blue, so it's a little bit lighter than this, almost like a blue gray. And I think if you wear something like kind of like a hot pink or something, it really kind of stands out. So that's all I'm going to say for now. I don't want to.
He's just putting it out there. Okay.
I don't want to show too much leg just yet, so to speak.
Well,
but,
if you showed leg, it would really be something. Then you'd really have
that would be big. And you should tune in to Fox News tomorrow night, because you might get some leg.
I probably will. Ed Henry, we are grateful to you. Thank you very much, my friend.
Good to see you. Thank you.
I wonder if Ed knows. He does know, because he's hip, that Zoolander, one of Zoolander's patented moves was blue steel. All right. I don't know if she has any patented moves, but she is patently excellent as a political correspondent for the Washington Examiner. She is Rebecca Berg. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said the Washington Examiner. I say Washington Examiner.
You'll get it right next time.
I'm trying.
Chris.
I'm working on it. Rebecca Berg is excellent. She is at the eponymous Twitter handle Rebecca Berg. I always like it when it's simple. Rebecca G. Berg. Was Rebecca Berg already taken?
It was taken. I've tried to stage a coup for years, but it hasn't worked.
Posers. All right. So here's a question, and I want to delve in more on this. We've heard this from the president like a bunch.
You have.
This was 2011. This was 2012. This was 2013. And now 2014, to some degree, has always focused on executive action. Now, the promise seems to be that with Podesta in the House and with a new approach, that the president will actually be able to do stuff by executive action.
You're right, first of all, that we have heard this before.
Good start, yes.
It is, it's this episode of Deja Vu harkening back to 2011 with We Can't Wait, if you recall.
And yet they could.
And yet they could wait, apparently, until 2014. And not much has changed, frankly, since 2011. The composure of Congress is exactly the same. Podesta, while a very important political figure and someone who has worked under these circumstances before, he is not a miracle worker. So I doubt that the president will be able to do anything substantial with these executive actions.
Test my cynicism. I posit that the purpose of this is not so much to achieve by executive action, but is to drive Republicans buggy and batty and crazy beyond all possible definition, and to threaten executive action for Republicans who have seen after having seen the power of Congress erode over decades, have seen a president who is particularly dismissive of the role of Congress, that I think that this is designed as much as anything else to make Republicans absolutely flip their wigs and not be engaged in message discipline and get more riled up as the president goes out to do stuff. What do you think?
I might actually disagree with you on that, Chris, because
certainly
I'm free to do that.
Free.
Amazing.
This is a free space.
That's fantastic, because
yes.
I think that it actually helps Republicans in many ways, because you see the president going out there and saying, well, if Congress won't do anything, I will take leadership and do it myself. But then executive actions are very limiting, and so it's actually, there's not actually much that he can do. So it will be a lot of talk that they can then say he's actually not doing anything.
Counts for so much, right? The talk counts in midterms. The president's trying to rally his political base.
Sure.
And have them say, see, he is tough and he is standing up to these Tea Party jerks. So that's good for him politically as he continues to try to rally the base, talking, as we talked last week, about voter disenfranchisement and other issues. And certainly it will make Republicans even madder, won't it?
It might. It will. Okay, sure. But, you know, I don't think it'll make them mad necessarily. I think it will give them more talking points and more avenues to, you know, express this outrage to the public from, you know, a messaging campaign standpoint. But Republicans, they understand that they're not in power right now.
Do they?
Maybe some.
Do they?
Okay, so maybe it will exempt Ted Cruz from that group, but most other Republicans understand that they're not in power right now and that there's only so much they can do. And so by creating this congressional gridlock, they've already frustrated Democrats to this amazing extent, forced the president to go to to take these executive actions and do what he can on his own. So I think they're actually working pretty effectively and might not.
This is what we call bucking the trend. When you go against cynicism in Washington, you are bucking the trend. Keeping with the trend of excellence, Rebecca Berg, we thank you for making time for us today.
Chris.
Enjoy the rest of your day. You, Internet, are going to enjoy the rest